15:45 hours. Many of the gunners on the upper decks had stopped to do what Grissom had done, cheer. Their shouts of triumph quick-marched down the companionways, leaving the men below the main deck with the impression they had just massacred the entire lot of devil spawn. Midshipman Davis banged his hand painfully on the hull as he gave a jubilant shout. Through the gun port he saw little more than a smoky haze. But the sounds from above decks were so enthusiastic, neither he nor the other gunners could resist. The exuberant pounding of feet could be heard even through the 3-inch floor plates. The hot breach added to the heat of the chamber and the moment. They did not care. This was their first battle. They had won, hands down. The smoke cloud broke. Davis craned forward. Look! Only a couple of men could look out at the same time. What Davis and the gun striker who joined him saw was a green-striped creature twisting its neck in bloody convulsions. It streaked first one way, then another. Davis saw its jaws open wide. He thought he heard a desperate animal moan, curiously similar to heavy machinery dragged across a flash plate. Look at the blood. Poor bastard. Poor bastard! The gun striker gave him a look of amused incredulity. Davis grinned sheepishly. Well, his last word. His last emotion? Embarrassment. Then confusion and terror. 15:52 hours. The Mother Tunnel leapt from the ocean and landed her massive weight athwart ships. Casemates and gun decks crumpled, crushing 24 men to death in an instant. The moment before their deaths, the oil buffer attached to Davis' gun burst, searing the flesh off the men in the casemate. The longitudinal keys at the top and bottom of the jacket grated like a train hitting ties as the rear of the gun snapped from the breech ring. The firing gear was percussive. Both Davis' gun and the gun above discharged. One of the 100-pound shells clipped the serpent's abdomen before plowing underwater. The other was knocked sideways. Its shell severed a bluejacket as he was flung back from a ladder, then struck the ammunition hoist just as a shell was coming up. The cordite flareback had already ignited the buffer oil, sending blue-green flames across the deck. The explosion spread the fire, killing every man on the gun platforms overhead. A dozen men were knocked back so powerfully they rebounded off the wood and armor shields and fell below. The creature snapped at the tumbling sailors, but missed. The explosions and fire girdling her belly grew uncomfortable. She raised her enormous front flippers and slid back into the ocean. Her departure was a mixed blessing. Her weight and impetus, as well as the high speed the Florida had built up, had caused water to flood across the low freeboard and would have swamped the bilge pumps had she remained a minute longer. But the fires that had already begun to sputter found new life. Wood, cordite, cortigone, and dead men supplied the fuel.